Welcome back. In this demonstration we are going to start making the hanging pieces for our stabile. In the previous video we created a base, something like this, that we will hang, that we will use to hang our stabile from, so that this is the base of our sculpture, and we'll need the hanging pieces that go with it. To show you my hanging piece here that I've created, this, as you saw in one of the other videos, is the hanging piece, and I've got 5 pieces in my hanging part of my sculpture. Now, one thing you're going to have to think about is the sizes and how the sizes are going to be balanced physically and how they're going to be balanced visually. Alright, now you have your drawing here that you created and what you want it to look like. This one I designed so that these pieces are standing up a little bit more and this curve is coming up kind of the same each time. However you've designed it on your paper, we'll try to make it look as close to your drawing as possible, although we're going to have to adjust it as we go. Now you're going to run into the following problems. Number one, when you place your fulcrum, it's going to determine the balance of your lever here. Then you might have to adjust. Like you'll see here, I had this symmetrically balanced, but I wanted it to hang a little bit more like this, and if I adjusted the fulcrum, it would bump into my sculpture base. So I want to change it. So what I did is I ended up adding 2 pieces of cardboard to this side and only 1 piece of cardboard to this side. So you can use different tricks to create different balance as you go through. Likewise, this piece over here, my main large piece, if I turn it this way, you can see it's got 6 pieces of cardboard, 2 large ones, 2 smaller ones, and 2 on the outside that are the smallest. Alright, and so going through this process, you're going to have to make all the original pieces, and then you might need more cardboard to fudge the balance with. Alright, so getting started with your design, you've decided a shape already. In this one I have these kind of like shark fin shapes. I think I might stick with the ovals because the base that I'll be using for the demonstration is more ovally. So when I first started creating those shapes I just showed you, this was my original plan. Try to have your shapes close to each other so there's very little gap in between, and try to leave yourself more room because you might end up needing to make more shapes like I just got done saying. So after I started cutting it out, this was my original cutout. I started with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shapes, then I made the other bigger shape, then I made the other 2 shapes, and then I even needed some more cardboard, which I used the leftover from this side of my stabilizing piece and the leftovers from the outside pieces here from my main body part of my sculpture. So as you go through, you're going to have to be flexible on what you add and what you've got. So to get started, I'm going to take my white piece of paper and make my designed shapes. So let's say I stick with the shark style curvy, pointy, curved line. Okay, there being my shape. Make your shapes and try to arrange them such on your paper that you'll be able to fit more in. Like here's one piece, here's my second piece. So if this is my main piece, this would be a little bit smaller and would be the next piece down on the rung. Okay, here's my next one. And your minimum pieces are 5. You should have at least 5 hanging pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. two of them, the ones at the bottom, should likely be about the same size, unless you want them to be asymmetrical looking. So choose that first. Okay, so there, if that's my original layout, I could have moved this one a little closer and bent this one up a little bit more, but that's pretty good. What I'm going to do now is, you could do this one of two different ways. The first way is, you could take your piece of paper and cut out each shape. This would be the longer version. It would take a little bit longer to do, but it might be more accurate. If you cut this piece out, you can make adjustments and arrangements as you cut. And then you can take that cut out piece and arrange it on here, whichever way makes the most sense. Okay, so let's say that's looking right for me, and it makes the most sense. And take this and trace it. And then eventually cut that piece out. Okay, so there's my traced little shape on there. Or, if that's maybe too labor intensive and time consuming for you, you can take your piece here, use your pencil, and just push through your paper on like the main parts of your line. Like that, and then play connect the dots. And this might be a quicker way for you to transfer the image. Okay, and then those little dots you won't really see later, because we'll just take those and be cutting right over the top of them, right? So I'm going to do the same thing here with my dots. This way I can kind of get things a little closer and save on cardboard just a bit. Okay, now I've got those pieces laid out, and you can see all of this extra space that I have because I might need to make more. Save this sheet in your folder, or if you've cut the little pieces out, save them so that you can retrace them later if necessary. Now you would simply just take your cardboard and cut each piece out. I'll just cut out one piece for the sake of cutting a piece out, and then I'll just cut the rest off of the video so that we don't have to watch a 30-minute video of me cutting pieces out. That's not very necessary. So again, as you start cutting, make sure that you're being safe. Safety first. One thing you might have trouble with as you start cutting these ones out with the dots, you'll find you'll snap into these dots as you get to them. So just be careful and be aware of that, so that when you get there you don't like accidentally jump out of the hole and cut your finger or something. And of course, you're always going to make sure that your fingers are away from the cutting direction, that you're always holding your blade carefully and pulling 3 or 4 times, making 3 or 4 passes along your piece of cardboard, so that you're being safe and not endangering yourself. Okay, once you get your piece almost all the way cut out, check the back, run your blade along the ridge you've already created to make sure that it's going to just pop right out, and then this piece should just come right out, and you can keep the rest of this cardboard intact, so that by the end you've got a piece of cardboard looking something like this with all the holes cut in it, and you will have this space down here left over for extras as you go through your process. Okay, so that's how to transfer your pieces onto your cardboard, how to cut them out, and then the next session we'll come back and we'll start talking about adding them onto your wire pieces for hanging them up.